I built this railroad and this forge and did so much more, all in an effort to finish the Iron Age and finally unlock the Nether. Because in this world, I intentionally limit my progression. With each episode in this series, I'll unlock more materials, transportation, and quests until I fully experience every part of Minecraft's core game. I'm actually not sure if there was a single shot from last episode that had daylight in it. I have been secluded underground for quite a while, and so I really just needed a break from that. I wanted to do something outside on the surface, so I decided to make a little bee farm and also a flower field. And it's a good thing I did, because today I have some work cut out for me. Over the last few episodes, I've been slowly chipping away at these goals, and I now only have 3 things left between me and the Nether. The first is to create a minecart track, specifically for transporting me. The second is to set up an armor trimming station, which will also mean stocking it. And finally, I have to build a blacksmithing setup. And that is a great place to start for today. Now, aside from being just like a nice cove at the end of this cave, the main reason that I think I want to use this area is because we have this spawner right here, which we can use as an XP source for the tool repairing. So I spent a while digging, placing blocks, and trying to figure out how I wanted to set up this anvil station. But I just couldn't land on something that I was happy with. I was hoping that I would have some inspiration strike for this area, but I think I realized that I've been looking at this wrong. I had originally been thinking of tucking away the anvil station inside this nook, but what I think actually might be better is if I just build a platform out here, and then we can center the anvil on that. Now, I did still plan on using that area around the spawner to set up an XP farm. In fact, I was super excited for it because I had an idea that is a bit different than your usual XP farm. But as far as the anvil station itself goes, I think it's better suited out here. It is tough to build like a whole platform that is dedicated to just this single block. But you know, it's more about adding the ambiance to it. So I think this direction, I'm gonna have the like heat source that I'm using to heat up the metal. Kind of what I'm envisioning is a big face in the wall that has lava pouring out of it, and then we'll have like a small lava like runway here with like maybe some magma around it. So I started by building that lava runway that would look like a hotbed of coals. I'm actually pretty happy with the size and feel of this. Like, it's funny, going into these kind of projects, I know exactly how I want it to feel, but it's just a matter of trying to figure out which blocks do that. Which blocks can cause that feeling. So, but yeah, I think this is exactly what I was wanting. So now I just want to extend this lava out and figure out how I'm gonna do this face. The shape was difficult because I wanted it to be slightly smaller than 1 pixel per block. And while it wasn't perfect, I was content with the final design. Yeah, I mean, I think I kind of like it. So after tucking it back into the wall, I had all the blocks in place, and all I had to do was add the lava and fire to it. Wait, you know what I just realized? You know how I had the 3 new equipment that I can make with the shield, bucket, and shears? There was another one that I just totally forgot about. Looks like we have even further completed that goal. Woo! All right. Yeah, okay. That's not too bad. I think I'm pretty happy with this. It's not as one-to-one as my house is, for example, but I think it does work pretty well. And I think it does make the anvil feel a lot more grand to have this whole hotbed of coals with lava and everything right next to it. After finishing up the main platform, I did also try to tie it back to the rest of the forge with paths, but I wasn't loving it. Okay, so I didn't have a great idea of what I wanted in this area, and so sometimes it's best just to get blocks down to figure out like what I want, but this did not help. I'm not a big fan of how jarring this switch is here and how just straight this path is from here to here without any interesting focal points. But I'm not really being drawn to this build right now, so I think we're gonna leave it at this for the time being, and we'll probably come back later in this episode and resort it out. But for now, this will do. And with that, I can move on to my XP farm build idea, the Sculk mines. Now, usually when you build an XP farm, you would elevate the mobs, then drop them down to collect the XP. But because I don't have access to soul sand yet, elevators are much trickier and less efficient. So I can't move the mobs up, then drop them. But using my patented Sculk wick technology, I am still able to drop them, then move the XP up. Now this of course is gonna take some Sculk, and I haven't been to the Deep Dark yet. So my first step was to find one. That is where we're heading. Okay, well let's find some water and jump down. That'll work. The reason I picked here to look was because the Deep Dark generates from the same condition that mountains do. And I knew this mountain range had a big opening. What I didn't realize though was that this was actually just a bowl and therefore had no underground caves. You're kidding. This whole place, there's no caves that go down. All right, I'll just mine down myself then. Oh, there's so many. Wait, why are there so many spawners right there? Let's see where this cave goes. We go down, nice. That's a good sign. Yes! Okay, we found it. Now, the Deep Dark has been in the game for a while, long enough that I've had my fair share of encounters, but I am by no means comfortable with it. So my goal was to simply get in, get the catalyst, and get out. So far so good, no shrieking. Oh, there's a shrieker. Whew. Okay. This is all we need. Just make sure. Might as well grab a second, right? Ooh. I gotta say, man, I haven't experimented too much with these biomes, but I do not like them. Yep, we're getting out. We are getting out. That's quite enough for me. Oh, the other thing that I didn't mention was I did just enter the Deep Dark, which means that I should have completed the adventuring time, but now there are 54 biomes because I did update to 1.21.4, meaning we do have Pale Gardens now, but we can save that for later. Now that I had the Sculk, the next step was to start deciding the layout of the mine. Now I'll explain why I'm calling it a mine in a second, but bear with me for now. After connecting the path, I set up a mine entrance using the same pattern I'd done for both the copper and iron mine, but this time using deep slate. Man, it's so ominous though, and I love that. I think that's gonna be perfect for a Sculk mine. From there, I moved on to building a pretty standard spawner room. While it's not gonna have an elevator, I still needed to funnel the zombies into a single tunnel. So you'll be able to see the zombies going underneath in like a channel here. And then what I wanna do is in this room, I wanna make sure that they're gonna be able to see me and then have their AI make them walk up the stairs over to here where I can hit them off a ledge into the pit where the Sculk is gonna be. Now, if you haven't already figured out why it's called a Sculk mine, the idea is that the zombies would fall near a catalyst. And because they were hit by me, they would drop XP that would be converted into Sculk. And from there, it would travel up the Sculk wick and spread into the mine. So to get XP for repairing tools, I would just need to go to the Sculk mine and mine Sculk. But of course, it's not gonna be that simple because I don't want this mine to infect the rest of the cave. So instead of just letting it spread into the deep slate, I plan to use regenerating stone pads to contain it. So what I'm gonna have to start by doing is first laying out a large room. Okay. So my thought is we need a floor that's gonna be able to convert into stone. And to do that, it all needs to be water sources and then have lava be poured on top of it. But what I'm wondering is if I have slabs on the side and those are waterlogged, does the lava do anything to the slab or does the slab stay protected? Okay, it looks like the slab will be protected if lava is poured on top of it. So that's good. That is one way that we can have protected water sources. Meaning if this was all slabs, then the lava should be able to safely go on top of that. And on top of just protecting the water sources, the slabs will also serve as a barrier to stop the Sculk spread. What I will be able to do then is pour lava over top of it, which will then turn it into a large stone pad that I can convert into Sculk. I think this is the corner that's closest. So essentially we'll just have to connect this corner up to the zombie killer. So from there, I dug the chute for the zombies to connect it up. I used a dripstone spike so I don't have to make the fall as far, and I placed it on top of mud so that I can use a hopper to at least collect some of the drops. Now, I didn't grab any Sculk blocks from the trip, I only got the catalyst, so for now, I just made the Sculk wick out of natural blocks that will be turned into Sculk when I start using it. Of course, taking every measure to make sure it doesn't infect the rest of the cave. It does feel silly. Like, it feels like I'm dealing with like a highly radioactive material or something with how much space I'm going around this and how much precaution I'm taking to cover all the surfaces and buttons. I think some of this insulation might have been a bit overkill, but either way, the Sculk wick was complete, meaning the only thing left before getting my first working version was to finish the killing room so that the zombies would walk up the stairs. Okay, I know that this is tremendously ugly, and I do not plan on leaving it like this. You can't even tell what you're looking at right now, but I just need to make sure it works before I get any further. All you're seeing here is this is where the zombies get to the end of the water stream, and then their AI will hopefully lead them up these stairs around right here where I can hit them back into that. So with most of the bones in place, it was time to give this thing a test run to make sure it was working before I made it look too nice. Oh, yep, it's working. Oh, it's working. Zombie gets pushed there, comes out right here, and then he should say, oh wait, I know how to get to him. Oh, I guess he can't see me right now, maybe. Yeah, I had thought maybe zombies could see through iron bars, but I was wrong. Either way, I did still get to knock a couple zombies down. Here you go. Yeah. Oh. Oh. Oh, I'm... Okay, so the XP is landing there, that's working, but I totally forgot to do the Sculk catalyst, and I feel like that is maybe an important thing to not forget. So I picked a spot to place it and went back up for another test. All right, well, let's try that again. Okay, so that does mean it's working. Let's hope it's not spread somewhere bad. Look at that, it's making its way up. That's perfect. And after a few more zombies, I ran into an issue with the spreading. Has Sculk made it up to here? Okay, not yet. In fact, has it made it past that? Oh, you can see how it's just sitting here. It's like bubbling, but it won't go up. Why does it stop there? Like if I got rid of this layer of buttons, let's see if that works better. Okay, see, I think it's gone up one more block. So I guess those buttons on the side, it can't have those. All right, well, let me try something then. I decided to just manually replace that top half because I think it was just having issues replacing it. If there was Sculk there, it should be able to travel through it. It was like, oh! It was almost like the thunder marked that being spread. Okay. I had finally gotten a fully working system. With that sorted out, I moved on to redesigning the drop room. I switched to this slab design to hopefully improve the line of sight for the zombies. But most importantly, this little 1-block drop before the main drop made it much easier to reliably hit the zombies into the chute. All right, yeah, I mean, that's definitely a little bit easier. Yeah. While it wasn't a glamorous room, it did look and work much better. Even if the zombies didn't have a perfect line of sight, I realized they do have an interesting mechanic that as soon as you hit one, nearby zombies become fixed on you and can easily pathfind to the drop. So with that room sorted out, I could move on to the more fun part of this project, designing the mine. Well, it takes a long time to add like any parts to this, but I did add a small nether wing to it. I'm curious to see how far that this Sculk is able to spread. Just like if it has kind of a range limit, you know, or like where it usually fizzles out at. But yeah, let's go and give it a test. Yeah, I mean, after a while, it did pretty much fully fill in over here. This gives me confidence that I should be able to expand this mine out even further. So with that in mind, I am gonna go ahead and expand this thing out a little bit. And I also want to figure out the lava system for the roof of it. Because in order to regenerate the stone, I need to pour lava over all the water source blocks. But instead of just manually placing all the buckets, I'd like to sort out some kind of overhead lava duct that can cover the whole floor with a single bucket. All right, I've started connecting these holes in the ceiling for the lava. But what I've realized is I kind of need to work backwards, because if I want it to all flow from a single source, I mean, the furthest point's gonna have to be the lowest, and then it's gonna have to go higher up from there. So I need to know how far away the furthest point is to know how high to start it over here. So because I needed to know the furthest point, I decided to dig out one final wing to make the mine a plus shape. That way I could start the lava duct. Man, I am super happy with this area. This is coming out so cool. I think it has a lot of potential for atmosphere, between just the sculk and the noises and particles and stuff, but then also the fact that I have to flood it with lava every so often. It kind of makes it feel like an industrial, like you could imagine having to clear the mines, make sure it's safe. You hear the siren going off as the whole tunnel floods with lava, and then after it's done, you're left with a clean stone floor that you can start killing the infected zombies again to fill it up with sculk. I don't know. I just feel like this area adds like a ton of ambience to the cave. So even though it is definitely not the most practical, I am super happy we took on this project. With the final mine shape set in stone, it was pretty easy just to work backwards and set up a runway for the lava so that all the ducts would flow back to a single point. Now this does take a second, so it's probably best to like maybe leave it like that while I'm gone or not using it, or maybe eventually we can put this on some kind of automatic system that it does it every day or something, just so I don't have to constantly be doing that. But then as you'll see, and I should probably stand back a little bit. As you can see, we got the whole floor covered in lava now. It is fully lit up, and we'll remove the lava. Oh man, okay. So it is burning our glow lichen. That's too bad. Okay, I was hoping we could have some moody lighting in here. I don't know, maybe I could find a spot that won't catch on fire, but for the time being, I'd rather not have mobs spawning in here. So let's just toss in a couple torches. And so after the lava clears up, then what we can do is either I could leave it like that, or I'll just plop this other sculk on top of it to make it level. And now this thing is ready to start spreading some sculk. So we'll head over here, and these guys have been winding up for a while, so we got a ton of them. And we'll just hit them off. And you can see all that sculk winding up, ready to be sent up to the surface. And look at that! Yeah, I could definitely make this mine bigger. This whole thing is already filled in pretty much. That's so cool. So yeah, we'll go ahead and get this place cleaned up, and then we should be able to check this off our list. All right, and with that, I think I'm comfortable to say that the anvil station is done. And what better way to show it off than to give it a full test run? I realized that my next armor upgrade is going to come with the diamond tier, where I'll be able to enchant it anyway. So there's no point in me holding on to all the enchanted books I've looted so far. So instead, I decided to go ahead and use them to make a fully enchanted set of iron armor. And with that, that is a full enchanted iron armor set. The forge has come a long way so far, with the smelter and lava farm from last episode, and the blacksmith setup and sculk cave we just completed. But the last thing that any good forge needs is an armor trimming station, which I'm gonna build over in this area. I think I wanna make another raised platform, similar to how this one is, this like circular platform, but maybe a bit smaller. And we'll make it over here and do kind of a thin walkway up to the side there. And yeah. Now this station isn't gonna have any gimmicks or anything. It is purely just to make the process of trimming armor super easy. And because I've built a couple of these deep slate platforms already, it came together pretty quick. All I have to do now is add the functionality that actually makes it an armor trimming station. All right, so I got some barrels, some armor stands, and I forgot to grab the one main thing I needed. Okay, now I have the smithing table. And I think we're just gonna put that directly in the middle. And so my thought is that this station will hold all the different smithing templates, and maybe eventually I'll have a complete set of each one just to visualize what they look like. But of course they take diamonds to recreate, and I don't have all of them yet, so I just wanna get it set up for the future. Now there's 18 in total, so I've gotten 18 barrels and 18 armor stands, and I want each of the armor stands to be on top of a barrel. So now I just have to figure out the best arrangement to be able to see all 18 armor stands and kind of display them nicely. Yeah, I think that actually does make them easier to see, even if it's like not spaced out correctly. When I stand right here, you can kind of see how they each make a window for themselves. So I think I like that layout. So after mirroring it to the other side, I now had a full layout for all 18 armor trims. It's kind of spooky. It's like a bunch of mannequins. But yeah, that works pretty well. Now, while the physical station was all set up, I still have one more task that I have to do before I can check it off the list. I need to collect all the trims I am currently allowed, as well as all the trimming materials. And after running a quick inventory, I realized there is one trim that I'm missing that I am technically allowed to get. And that's, of course, the one you get from pillager towers. I mean, with full iron armor, this shouldn't be too tough, right? Oh man, okay, maybe I gotta go to another one. But luckily, I did know there was another one close by. Here's the other one. Hopefully that one's got the trim in it, because I would really like to not have to go look for another one. Oh man, there's none here? Okay, well, it looks like we're gonna do just a little bit of exploring. And after a couple thousand blocks, yes, okay, that one was hidden too. Excuse me. Okay, come on. No! Am I gonna have to look even further? I will take the goat horn. This is our first goat horn. So that's a win, but unfortunately, no armor trim. This one had taken me a while to find, and I wanted to find the next one a bit quicker, so I pivoted to the east. Because if you can recall from episode 2, the villagers control the western half of my world, while the pillagers are rooted in the east. And sure enough, yes, oh, I knew it! The east is the way. Okay. Oh man. I had gotten a ways away from home and decided to start looping back around, which was when I found a jungle temple. I didn't specifically need anything from it, but I did decide to go ahead and grab the redstone components in case I need those before I was able to craft them. Wait, hold on, is this the same one? No, that's a new one, right? Dang, they are good at hiding. Why do they hide them behind hills like this? And template. Yes! Oh, that feels so good. Oh, and we got a new one. Awesome, we got Ponder and Sing. I think Ponder is the one I like. Oh, no, it's not. But it's not a bad one. That feels so good to have that template now. I am already wrapping towards home, but now I can officially head home. And soon enough, I had made it home with all my new loot. Oh, we got a full iron zombie. Okay, well, I'll definitely take this opportunity. Come on. Oh no, give me those. Oh, someone else got them. Oh. That's so annoying. I just realized how my hunger was. Dang it, does that mean I gotta build a gravestone now? I now had every trim I was allowed to get at this point. And even though I can't duplicate them yet because the recipe takes diamonds, I still did want to gather each trim's specific block for their recipe. Luckily, all of them were pretty simple blocks, like terracotta, cobblestone, and mossy cobble. So with the template side of the materials all sorted out, the last thing I needed were the materials for the trims themselves. Most of them were pretty easy ones that I could gather in my cave, like iron, copper, amethyst. In fact, I already had a full stack of almost all of them, except for one. Resin. As you may remember, Pale Gardens are the one biome that I haven't stepped foot in, which means I have to head back out exploring. I'll spare you the details on this trip, but I did manage to loot enough shipwrecks that I also finished a stack of emeralds. Enchanted golden apple. Wow, okay. And after over an hour of exploring, I finally found it. Yes! Yes! And we are only 4,000 blocks out. If I'm not mistaken, this is the last biome we need, and any moment now, we should get... There it is. I had officially completed the Adventuring Time advancement, but that was only the first thing I needed from this biome. See, I didn't think to bring a Silk Touch tool until I was well on my way. So in order to bring back a renewable amount of resin, I will need to collect 9 resin clumps. That way, I'll be able to craft a creaking heart so I can farm resin at home. And to do that, I'll need to find a creaking. Oh man, the sun is setting. I know very little about these guys. Oh, what was that? Oh, we immediately found one. I didn't realize that I'd be able to find him that quickly. You stay right there, pal. Okay, I don't actually really want to deal with you. Oh yeah, we've already gotten 7. That doesn't take too much. Okay, maybe I shouldn't have killed that first one. I don't know how rare they are. Yeah, I probably should have farmed him up a little bit more. Oh, never mind. That's a ways away, okay. Come on, Vominos. How fast are they? Oh, very fast. Oh! Okay, this is what we're gonna do. I don't really want to deal with you guys. Yep. That's a spider. Oh, you guys stop it! Oh man, I don't like this at all. Not one bit. Having found 2 more creaking hearts, I very bravely retreated and pillared up to safely sleep away the night. Perfect. And since I made sure to hit both of them, I was able to use the resin to find them in the morning. Oh yeah, okay, here's one. We have 15 clumps, which I think means that we have totally enough to make a creaking heart. So yeah, let's head home. And if you didn't believe me on the whole east versus west thing, I found this on the way home. Oh. Yeah, I'm not doing that right now. Is this the same one? I think that's the same one. No, that's not the same one. That's a different one. That's a different one in almost the same direction. So I marked its coordinates for an episode at a later date, then continued on my way home. Back at the house, I set up a creaking heart so I could get a full stack of resin to smelt into the bricks for trims. And I also used this time to experiment a bit with how they work. And then my guess, I think that the creaking heart is like on. I'm using air quotes. It's like on when it's got logs on both sides of it. So that would be like on. Oh yeah, see, it's turned off now. So I can just mine on the top and bottom of it and that would turn it on or off. Okay, can I do something like that to collect all of it? Oh, okay, so that means it's nighttime. Sweet, yeah. Well, I think I've gotten as much as I need from him, so we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna turn you off for the night, buddy. I thought that would work. Does that not work? Wait, can I not turn him off? So I made the voluntary choice to continue harvesting resin through the night, which was definitely not influenced by the creaking holding me hostage. Oh, there you go. And in the morning, I smelted a stack of resin bricks and assembled it alongside the 6 other trim materials to complete the collection of all my available trim resources. So aside from like applying all the trims to all these, which is gonna take a long time and a lot of diamonds, I think all that I have left to do for the trimming is actually apply some trims on my armor. So yeah, I would consider this armor trim station complete. So I guess with that, it's time to actually figure out what designs I'm going with for this stage. I'll grab some of these and we'll see what looks good. Oh, that looks so good. Oh, the trims are so cool. I love having the trims in the game. Now, I know I've had a lot of last things that I've needed to do before finishing this forge, but I promise this is actually the last step. Now, I'm usually terrible when it comes to finishing projects. I get it anywhere from like 60 to 80% done. Enough that the vision has taken shape and is no longer just a vision. I feel satisfied enough and then I move on to something else and end up never coming back. Because I'm aware of that about myself, I wanted to make an effort to actually tie this forge together with a final decoration. And the first thing I did was add this dripstone focal point to the path, which for me really solved the issues I had with that stretch. It makes that long walkway feel like there was a little bit more of a purpose to being built like that. Now the smelter was almost done, but I did add some polishing final touches, with wider walkways out of it and a magma pool around the base, which I think makes those lava channels make a little bit more sense. Next, I reworked the catwalk to add some much needed segments to it. And while those trapdoors did take a lot more copper, I did manage to reuse the lightning rods to suspend the walkway. And I really surprised myself by actually fixing this porthole thing at the end of the cauldron line. At no point during the process of originally building that did I like the way it looked. Now, it's a lot more subtle, but with that lava backdrop instead of the failed glass gradient thing, I think it's also a lot more convincing. I wasn't lying when I said that I built this bee farm because I wanted a break from being underground, but I also built it and kept up with harvesting it because my cave has a ton of copper and I would really like to preserve it at a specific stage. Both the orange and green ends of the copper spectrum are a bit too vibrant for what I was wanting. I love having these metal elements in the cave, but I wanted them to be a bit more dull, which is why I opted to wax everything in the cave at the exposed stage. And with that, I'm happy to say our forge is finally complete. Which leaves me with one final goal before our world unlocks a whole new dimension. And to complete that goal, I'm gonna build a railroad. But before I could get to placing rails, I first needed to find a good spot to put my train station. I kind of like the idea of it being by the village. A train station feels like the kind of thing that a village would have. You know, I guess it wouldn't be terrible for it to go behind my house, like somewhere around that hill. That wouldn't be awful. Now, picking a location wasn't as simple as just finding somewhere that looked nice though, because I had a specific method in mind for my train cars that would require a perfectly straight track, meaning it doesn't turn, go up, or go down. And I'll go more into that later, but for now, that meant I didn't want to place it somewhere where it would cut through the middle of a build. You know, I don't think it would be a bad idea for it to be at this end of the field, because this way I won't have any like ugly railroads that cut like right in front of the view of my house. And it also wouldn't cut through the sandcastle, which is nice. Yeah, I think I kind of like somewhere around here. This spot was looking pretty good, but the last check that I wanted to do was to head out about 1,000 blocks both east and west to make sure the rail would be a good mix between building bridges and tunneling through land. Oh, that'll be cool. It looks like it goes right through that huge shattered savanna over there. Yeah, it would just cut right through that. And then if we go this way, I mean, it looks like it would actually run directly into that mountain, which would also be fine. Yeah, you know, I think I like it. Now, I'm not sure how far I will actually build out the railroad today, but I just want to make sure that if I extend it out, you know, I'll be able to, and it's not gonna run into like too much ocean or something. And with that, I could start the construction. Now, I do plan on building the station first, but because the location of the rails is so important, I wanted to make sure I had my plan for them all laid out. That way I could build with the rails as my starting point. All right, and then it will get to here, and we'll need to switch it over to these blocks. Oh, you know, I guess I could use slabs. Slabs would be slightly more block efficient, and I think it could look better. When designing the blueprint for the rails, it was important to first think about how it would look stretched across long gaps, and secondly, how Iron Age friendly it would be to gather resources for it. And with those two major thoughts in mind, this was the design I landed on. Honestly, not bad. I think I kind of like that. Yeah, I feel like this would be a pretty good design. And with that, I could start sketching out the train station, including figuring out the block palette that I wanted to use and building up some markers to get a feel for its general size. Did that one water bucket turn that into dirt? All right, yeah, I like that. I think the brick is definitely gonna be the move. So what that means is since villagers are off limits, we're gonna need a lot of clay. And I think the best way to get clay is through a lush cave. And last episode, in the process of getting all the iron I needed, I ended up needing to go out to some other caves, and I found this beautiful lush cave over here. Yeah, this is a pretty cool cave over here. Now, I'm still thankful for my cave back home, but look at this place. Anyway, yeah, this should be all the clay we need. I also wanted to use fully oxidized copper for the roof of the train station, and there was a ton here, so I gathered some of that as well. Oh, I don't want to deal with that right now. Man, I was just trying to grind resources. Okay, well, I have spent a while gathering resources, and I am super excited to actually get to building this thing. So what I'm picturing for this build is going to be a long wooden foundation that has this brick structure on top of it. So of course, the first thing I want to build is that wooden foundation. I could only really do the front edge of the foundation though, because I needed to know the size of the building before I'd be able to go around it. So I moved on to working on the structure. I mean, I feel like you can kind of see what I'm trying to do here, but I don't know if it's fully working because of how it's kind of sunk in there. Anyway, I shouldn't be getting too hung up on details right now and instead focus on the overall shape. Now, my inspiration for this build is the Disney train station. I'm not super knowledgeable about architecture, so the keyword that I was originally looking at to get some ideas was Gothic. But I learned that the style I was actually looking for is called Mansard, which specifically refers to these sloped roofs. Because the roof is a defining feature, it's gonna be important to get it right. All right, let's see how that's looking. Not quite. I don't like that. As much as it stinks in the moment, one thing that I've learned from this game time and time again is that if it doesn't look right, it is much more worth tearing it down and redoing it than to just accept it. I'm pretty neutral when it comes to Disney. I'm not a super fan by any means. The main reason that I'm using the train station as an inspiration is because I just love the way it looks. Although at some point I think it'd be fun to explore some of the tricks that Disney uses, like their paint colors to hide or highlight things, or the way that they use forced perspective to make things seem bigger or smaller. I'd be curious to see how well something like that would translate to Minecraft. But for now, I'm just borrowing the more surface level design. Okay, so let me tell you kind of where I'm at with this. If I saw that, I'd say, yeah, that's a pretty good build. I like that build. But the proportions on it just aren't exactly what I had in mind. And like I said before, you know, if something feels off, it's better to just change it. So, yeah, honestly, that fixed so much of my problems with this build. Yeah, I'm much happier with that. See, this is what I mean. If you aren't happy with where the build currently is, adding more to it really is not gonna fix it. You always just gotta go back and take stuff down. All right, and I think that is pretty much it for the exterior. I mean, aside from like glass and stuff, let's take a quick ride around it and just look at it from a distance, see if that is true. Oh man, it's looking so good though. And yeah, the backside here is a little bit simpler, but yeah, I'm super stoked at that. I will be honest though, I was hoping that copper would age just a little bit more because having green instead of orange on the top is gonna drastically change the way this thing looks. But we aren't done yet. We aren't done yet. It's still got a little bit more time to age because I still had some other finishing touches to put on it. I built these awnings on both sides, meant to look like waiting areas for the train. I finished up the spruce base and I added in the windows. Yeah. Honestly, I couldn't be happier with how this train station's come out. I think that is like exactly perfect what I had in mind. Now, if anything, this build is a little bit more of a fun build that doesn't serve a whole lot of purpose other than just being the place where the train tracks are at. But you know, it would make sense that at a train station, we would have a large map. So I think that this could make a pretty good map room for the world. Unfortunately, maps do require redstone because they require compasses, but I have managed to find 2 from looting. So I think we should go ahead and make our first map. Okay, so I'm just right in the middle of this field. Let's see what we get on the map. Who would have thought? A field. All right, let's see what our house, donut, and flower farm look like. Oh, okay, so you can't see the flower farm, but the crop field looks pretty cool, and that part of the donut does. I like the way that the paths are showing up. That's gonna be super cool. Once I get some more maps and I can lay out some more paths around here, that's gonna be awesome having a path that connects up to the train station. Okay, so I think this one's gonna go in the middle, like that, which means that our house is gonna go on this bottom one. Now that the train station building is done, all I have left to do is build out the rails in each direction, which means it's probably a good time to explain why I have to build the rails perfectly straight. In Java Edition Minecraft, furnace minecarts have this feature that I feel like I never see anyone use. I had to dig through some old forums and run some tests myself to figure it out. But if you place 1 to 4 minecarts down, then run a furnace minecart into them so that they're squished together, then face the other way and right-click the back of the furnace to switch its direction, it creates a link between them and will actually pull them like a real train. Now, if it hits a turn, ramp, or a drop, it will disconnect the carts. But as long as the track stays perfectly straight, they'll stick together. And because I only have a few powered rails, this is a great opportunity to use this feature. And so that's the concept that this railroad specifically is going to be built on, which is why I plan to keep it fully straight for as far as I'm able to, I guess. So I guess with that, I got my work cut out for me, and it's time to just get to placing these rails. I was very conscious of my block palette when I was designing this railway because I knew how far I wanted to build these out. And that's why the whole thing is made out of spruce. Now, my goal with this rail was to reach the windswept savanna in the west and just to hit land in the jungle on the east. Using the coordinates to kind of roughly add that up, it came out to about 1,200 rails. And that was almost the exact amount that I had. Now, I made a couple of mistakes that cost me a bit of time. Oh no, am I a block above? Ah, you're kidding. But by far, the most painful one was realizing after building the 800 blocks to the west that the original design I came up with had slabs under the rails instead of trapdoors. While I definitely contemplated changing the design to the one that I had just built, I realized I liked the original plan a lot more, and it seemed like a common theme this episode anyway to fix mistakes so that I'm more happy with them. So using my iron tools, I painfully did just that. In the end though, these repetitive infrastructure tasks are great projects to take on. Minecraft is a difficult game to stay motivated on, and I think a lot of it is to do with how much mental work it takes to plan things. So doing repetitive projects like this allows you to add a lot of value to your world without having to use up your very valuable brain power. Okay, and that is the last rail here. Man, with all the last things that I've had before completing something, I can't believe this is actually done. So I mean, with that, it would be a shame if I didn't give this thing a test run, even though I don't really have anywhere to go particularly. All right, well, it looks like my train is leaving soon, so better hop on that. We have come a long way since the start of the Iron Age. Between all the builds that we did in the cave and the new train station, I think it's safe to say that we have fully experienced everything this stage has to offer. So with that all wrapped up, join me next time as we travel deeper to find out what this world has in store.